What is up, my blue few, and welcome back to a Game Changer review. Tonight's guest star, you know him, you love him. He makes the best goddamn smoothie in New York. It's Kip. You can't, it's fine. You'll hear it later. And our next contestant, captain of the New York Admirals hockey team, is going to be winning a cup this year. It's Scott Hunter. And our third contestant, which you cannot see because I have him hidden, wink wink, it's the closet. It's the classic closet that all you athletes know you gotta get out of some point. These are our three contestants for the review. I'm your host, Sam, and I've been here the whole time. Hi guys, how are y'all doing? I came up with this whole bit. It took me almost 2 hours to set everything up, and part of my green screen won't work, which is why I technically have the closet hidden, but I thought it was a fun joke, so yeah. I'm excited. I've been planning this review for like 2 days now and what I was going to do. And I decided that I wanted to stand, and I decided that I wanted to look as sexy as the men do, so, you know, you can admire the physique if you like. I really worked hard on it. I've been dieting and working out. Definitely. So, yeah. How are you guys doing? How are you enjoying the review? How are you enjoying Heated Rivalry? Like, how is everyone doing? Fun fact about me. I did a 2-hour video yesterday and I hated it. I hated everything about it. I was sitting in my chair and I was just kind of like reviewing the book, but I was reviewing it in a way that like I was like, this feels boring and not me and not, it doesn't have life in it. So I was like, let's bring a little fucking life in this bad boy. And so I did all this. I was literally, and I mean literally, sweating my ass off putting all of this up. So yeah, this is a green screen. If you couldn't get, that's why it's key. If you couldn't guess. There's a few things that we will talk about in this review. We're going to be talking about one, we'll be like we'll be making comparisons from the show to the book, of course, but we're also just going to be breaking down chapters and my feelings, and sometimes I'll remember things. I did write things down. Hey, that person in the comments from part 1 review, I wrote things down. So if it seems like there's some weird cuts and edits, it's because I'm looking at my notes to see where I want to go next. Enjoy that. Also, if this seems like really not well put together, it's my first time. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. So yeah. I'm first off, let's just give the open, like, arcing feeling of the book and how I felt about it, right? I really liked this book. Like, I really liked it. I would even say I liked it more than book 2, but I think the reason I like it more than book 2 is because I've already finished the show, and the show is such an amazing adaptation of the book that, like, I don't know, I just feel like I didn't get enough new information, I guess. Like, it's hard to rate it. Like, if I rate it on the scale of the show, it's phenomenal. It's fucking amazing. It's been so long since I've seen a show where it uses everything correctly in just the right way. The cinematography, the sex scenes, the fucking facial expression, just everything, that the lighting. I mean, the show is phenomenal. It does everything right. Literally everything right. Except Kip and Scott's story. It does justice. It does justice for Skip and Scott's story, but I don't know if it really gives us the full. It gives justice. It doesn't give full story. That's what I'll say. And that's okay, because, I mean, again, What's the show called? It's Heated Rivalry. It's not a game changer. So yeah, I get it. You get it. We get it. It's yes, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, I will say we are going to, of course, we are definitely going to be bringing up Ilya because he does show up in the book. We'll bring up Shane, but my goal is that this is a story about Kip and Scott. It is not about Ilya and Shane. So yeah, will there be comparisons made? Probably. I don't know what I was going to say next. But that's fine. Okay. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to mention is the descriptions of the characters in the book compared to what we get in the show. Which is, I think the only really, really big one is that Scott is supposed to be just like a little bit taller than Kip, like a pretty good amount taller. I think they maybe say like 6'4" or 6'5", like he's supposed to be taller than Kip is. Also, I don't think Kip is supposed to be as ripped as he is in the show, but goddamn he is. In the book, they're just like, yeah, he works out, he's fit, but then they also say he's like so fucking hot too. So maybe he is like goddamn ripped, and yeah, we know for a fact that Scott is ripped because the first time we see him in the book, they bring up the Under Armour thing, and it's beautifully done in the show. I mean, you see them, they're there, they're amazing, they look beautiful. Not as good as mine, of course, not as good as mine, but you know, they look amazing. So yeah. And did I mention Scott's blonde? Scott's blonde in the book. Also, this is a small thing, which I totally get why they couldn't do it in the show because of they only had like, what was it, 32 days maybe to record the entire show. But in the book, both Ilya and Scott grow out their beards, which is apparently like a big tradition they do in hockey, like throughout the season, is they grow it out, and then when the season ends, they shave it as like a thing. Which is why in the show and in the book, Kip says something about, oh, you guys all look like hot lumberjacks, which is like the big beard and everything. Shane can't grow a beard, and so I don't know if he really follows that tradition or not, but yeah. Just a fun fact, technically, per the book, they should have beards a little bit later in. So yeah. I don't think there's anything else huge, because I think that Kip has darker hair in the book as well. I believe he does. Yeah. He's more of a brown hair, and I feel like he's got a bit more black hair in the show, but like that's not the biggest deal. I think Scott being blonde is insane. But Ilya's also supposed to have like super long hair too, like later. Like he's supposed to have like almost shoulder length hair. And of course, again, 32 days, they're not going to be able to do that. I totally get it. Okay? And that's fine. That's fine. So, we're going to start chapter 1. And we're going to work our way through the whole fucking book. I'm going to probably quote some things, but some things I'll just kind of say off the top of my head. So, yeah, if I do get something wrong, I'm really sorry. Like, I've read the book twice now. I've made all my notes. I wrote notes on top of the notes. Like, I've highlighted stuff. I did my best to do what I could, but I do have a bit of the ADHDs, and sometimes things just don't stick in there, and I can't do anything to keep it. It is what it truly is. Okay? So, yeah. That's the big one. It's fine. We're good. Everything's fine. So, let's start. Ready? Chapter 1. This is our first big comparison of the show, guys, because chapter 1, we start with Kip. We don't start with Scott. In the book, we start with Kip, and he is talking about how he's got a hangover because he went out drinking last night with his friends Chuck and Jimmy. And he might have had one too many drinks, even though he knew he had a 6 a.m. shift at the Straw and Berry. Which it's Straw and Berry, it's not Straw plus Berry, guys. Okay? Um, fun fact, just so everyone knows, Chuck and Jimmy, they slay. And if you know what that means, you know what that means. If not, they're two gay men. There you go. You're welcome. I'm happy we're all on the same page here. We start there. Him and Maria are doing their shift. Also, fun little fact. Straw plus berry, strawberry, straw and berry. It fucking is. It's popping. It's popping. Apparently, it's busy. It's a hopping place. It's from 6 to 9. There's not a moment that we get a break. Apparently, fun fact, and that makes sense because I was like, every time we see this shop in the show, like maybe I don't know if I'm gonna try. If I don't edit it in, it's fine. Imagine a tumbleweed. Did you imagine it? It might have been there. Who knows? Maybe I was able to edit it in. Maybe not. That's what it's like. It's fucking empty. There's no one in the building. Ever. But it's popping. Of course, Scott shows up at 9:01 when it's dead. In the book. Because of course he does. And Kip is sleeping. He doesn't hold an art book. But I think it's a beautiful touch in the show. But he's not holding an art book. He's just sleeping because he has a hangover. And he hears a little and he wakes up and he's like, oh, what? I'm so sorry. What can I? Oh, my God. Jesus, fuck, Jesus. That's literally, he stopped. He like, literally, he's like, what? I mean, how can I help you, sir, right? Because Scott comes in, he's looking fucking the most handsome man you've ever seen in your goddamn life. Of course he is. Because these are really great looking men. Blonde, tall. I guess. And, they have their little awkward chit chat. Their little like, oh, well, you know, it's a pretty great drinks with dumb names in here. And this is one of my little lines that I wrote down that I really liked, which is that Scott goes and he like points at his Kip's name tag, goes, I like your name. Oh, we're doing this. This is what's happening. I like it. So like, Scott doesn't even know what's going down, but he's feeling it already, and we know he is, okay? And, you know, Kip... Oh! The banana doesn't exist. What? You're saying we just added a banana in the show? That's insane. It was my favorite part. It wasn't, I'm joking. But I do think the banana on the socks really adds something to the story. I think the banana adds something to the story that we really... We needed, because the banana with the socks, with the blue, because in the book, they're just blue socks. Hey, this is future content? What am I doing? Guys, the train. We're skipping so many carts. Let's get back. My apologies. I'll do my best to stay on the track, but sometimes, this is a train metaphor. I'm going to make a train metaphor, so just be ready for the train, because it's going to come in constantly. It came in yesterday constantly, and when I was sitting in the chair, and I feel like I was gonna do a prop where like I put green screen like a box here and I acted like I was on a train, but this took fucking forever, and I'm not even going to attempt to do whatever I thought I was gonna try and do there. So where was I? No banana, but that's fine. He makes a smoothie, he gives it to him. Scott's like, oh my God, this is such a fucking delicious. Here's $20. Keep the change. Maria, she's like, we share those, so give me my $5.50. Give me my $5.50, or was it $13.99? Shit, it's either $5.50 or $6.50. Okay, but she's like, cha-ching, I'll take some of that, thank you very much. And Kip leaves, and some other guy comes in, and he's like, oh my God, was that Scott Hunter? And Kip's like, was that Scott Hunter? Holy shit. I think that was Scott Hunter. And then this fucking bozo's like, well, that motherfucker is like sucking right now. I don't even know why we keep him. We need to trade him. He hasn't made a shot since November. And Kip's like, fuck you, dude. Did you see how fucking hot he was? He didn't actually say that, no. But Kip gets a little irritated because Scott was such a nice guy just now, and like you're kind of ripping on the man for no reason. So yeah. Oh, I almost went off screen, guys. It's fine. I think I'm gonna get a little closer. No. Yeah, that feels, yeah. What was I saying? Fuck. We're still in chapter 1. Kip goes over to his best friend Elena's house, who is apparently the most fucking gorgeous thing you've ever laid your eyes on. She's so fucking gorgeous that's how Kip knew that he wasn't into women, because if he was into women, by God, he would be into her. But he's not, so that's how we know, and he knows that he is 100% gay. So yeah. He goes over, and she immediately clocks it. She's like, who is he? What is this? You're happy. Why? What's going on? And he's like, it's nothing. You know, Scott Hunter came in. He got a thing. He said my name. It was really cute, and I kind of like him. I might have looked up pictures of him on the internet. And Elena goes, oh my God, we gotta watch the game tonight. So they do. And this is a cute little thing that I thought was adorable that I put in my notes, which is Kip is already feeling something, because whenever Scott gets brushed or maybe tapped or hit a little bit, Kip's like, oh no, I hope he doesn't get hurt. And I was like, Kip, you dirty dog, you're already in, and we can feel it. So that was really fun. Chapters 2 and 3, we learned a few things. We learned that one of Kip's friends, which is either Chuck or Jimmy or someone else whose name I can't remember, is like, hey, museum job opening, you should apply. And Kip's like, no, I don't think so. Like, I just don't think that's going to be for me. They're at a bar at the moment, so you can picture it. He's like, I just don't think that's for me. I don't think I want to apply for that. You know, like, I don't even have my master's. Like, it says it needs a master's. I don't. But he applies anyways because, I mean, he's got a degree in history. Art history. He's got a degree. He's got a degree, guys. And he's like, well, fuck it. Okay, maybe I will. Hey, you never know. Sometimes crazy shit happens, so I'll give her a go. And, he applies. A few other things, you know, we have one or two more meetings in the old coffee shop, as they say. They do a bit more flirtatious. He remembers Kip's name. Oh my God. What? So he makes a smoothie and he's like, I gotta do exactly everything that I did yesterday, and we're still thinking the smoothie's this whole big thing, and we know it's not the fucking smoothie. But we're not admitting that to ourselves right now, are we, Scott? No. We're not, and that's fine. That's fine. For now. We'll admit it. You just wait. I've read the book, okay? So, Scott comes over to the no, did I say coffee shop? To the smoothie shop. Strawberry. Okay, he goes over to the strawberry place, and he gets his classic blueberry moon smoothie, and he's like, do you mind if I sit down for a little bit? My legs are just so, and he's like, and I got like emails, and he's like, oh, right, and he does that. He doesn't do that, but he's like, I have like these emails, and he's a little awkward, but it's kind of cute. And Kip's like, oh yeah, sure, man, like, you don't even have to ask me, sit down, brother, let me look you up and down, you know. He doesn't say that either, just you know. And, you know, there's a little awkward silence, and Kip's like, trying not to stare at this sexy blonde man. And he's like, oh, let me just go wipe these counters. And Kip's like, you know what, let me test these motherfucking waters. Let me see if there's anything in them. Okay? And, he, like, brings up something in conversation, which I didn't write down and I don't have memorized, so don't judge me. But they have a cute little like about like tradition or what is it, superstition. He's like, Scott's like, well, actually, I'm not as superstitious. But there are some things that we have to stick by, because. Oh yeah, I think Kip brings up like, are you sure you staying here isn't gonna ruin the routine and mess up the voodoo magic you're pulling on all these games? He doesn't say voodoo magic, just so you know that. And Scott's like, no, it's not really that, that important. And then something about, shaving the beards, and Kip brings up like, this is when he really is like, I gotta go and see if maybe there's something here. And he says, well, I think you guys all look like sexy, hot fucking lumberjacks. He doesn't say the fucking or sexy part, but he says hot lumberjacks. And Scott kind of like looks down and he's a little awkward about it, but then, I think Scott can tell that he's made Kip a little uncomfortable, because Kip's like, fuck, what? Oh no, he's not gay. He was just being friendly. Fuck, oh my god. And then Scott's like, hey, I've got like these 2 tickets to my game. Do you maybe like want to come to it? And Kip's like, yeah, yes, yeah, of course I want to come. Wink, wink, right? So then we go into chapter 4, because that's chapter like 2 and 3. That's kind of the information we get in those chapters. Oh, I do want to bring up a small thing that happens in chapters 1, 2, and 3, and about every other chapter that has Kip in it, which is the classic Kip beatdown of himself, which is that all these moments, things will happen, and so like the first time Scott comes in, Marie, of course, is just like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed him. What? And he's like, he said my name, and then, or maybe this is the second time, it might be chapter 2 that this happens, but it's a thing where Scott says internally, like, there's no way, did I say Scott? I meant Kip. Kip says internally, there's no way Scott Hunter is gay. And even if he was, he wouldn't go for a guy in a smoothie shop. This is like the first really small thing we notice about Kip, is that he kind of finds these little ways to put himself down. It happens again when he meets up with Elena, where he goes, Elena, she's like a full adult. She's got everything figured out, right? Unlike him. Because he graduated, or he got his first degree in his college thing at 22, and he's 25 now, and like he brings up that he's still living with his parents, and he's working at this smoothie shop, and he feels like he's wasting this degree, that this degree is a waste almost, right? That kind of comes in a little bit later more when he talks about himself. So yeah, but chapter 4. Oh, nope, no. I almost forgot. Chapter 3, they do go. Elena and Kip go to the game. Scott gives him the old howdy doody, goddamn, hey there. I see you're using my seats, right? He doesn't say any of that, of course, but he gives him a wave and kind of a head nod, and Kip's like, that's, what? That can't be for me. That has to be for somebody else. It can't be for me, right? Right? And Elaine's like, that's totally fucking for you, you beautiful gay idiot, right? And that happens. Scott wins that fucking game, because of course he does, because he's hot. That's not why he wins the game. He wins the game because he's really good at hockey, and also he's hot. So chapter 4, gala. No, chapter 4, an event. Just an event, not the gala. This is an event that Kip is catering for. He's got the... I might edit a thing in, I might not enjoy. If not, you imagine it. But Kip is catering this event, and he runs into the one and only Scott, and he's like, oh, I gotta thank Scott for those tickets, because they were amazing. And Wink, I gotta go. Yeah. So he walks up and he's like, I'm Kip in this scenario, just so you know. And he's like, hey, I just like wanted to thank you. I'm not gonna do a broken accent. You can just imagine that, okay? Hey, I just wanted to thank you for those tickets. They were amazing. Elena said, like, you gave me a how do you do, but she's crazy, right? Scott's like, no, Mo, that was 100% for you. That was for you. He's very adamant that he wants Kip to know that that head nod and like wink was for him. 100%. Okay? Also, they don't have that little awkward thing where Kip like runs into him with hors d'oeuvres or anything like that. But I think it's a good thing they put in the show because it kind of shows you a little bit of Kip's anxiety about things, like his anxiety over the job and everything. It just kind of gives you a little bit more life for the Kip story because we don't get to see almost the second half of this entire book, except for a certain part that happens when a certain somebody wins a little something, you know what I mean? So yeah. But they, you know, talk a little bit and Kip's like, oh well, I gotta go work, you know? And Scott's like, yeah, of course. And then Scott's like, hey, you like burgers? You like food? And Kip's like, of course I haven't eaten in hours, literally hours. I went from one job to this, and I can't eat this food, and I don't want to because it's gross. Yeah, I'm starving. And Scott's like, I know this really great burger shop like a block away, and you know, if you maybe wanted to, I don't have a burger with me, I wouldn't mind, right? And Kip's like, holy shit, it's happening, oh my god. And then he's like, no, shut up, Kip. Ugh, he's just being nice, he's just being friendly, or yike. And this is I wrote this in my little notes too. This is a personal note from Sam. And it is when Scott's like, fuck, all I have is this tux, and I don't want to go to this, like, chill burger place in a tux. So he goes to, I've recorded this part 3 times. Fun note, so you guys know, and I never have looked it up. So be ready for that. He goes to one of those, like, shops on the side of the road or whatever, and I keep calling them bodegas, but then I'm like, I feel like bodegas are food joints. So tell me in the comments, because I still didn't look it up, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to look it up. So yeah, he goes to one of these places, and he gets like a hoodie that says like New York on it, and he gets like a hat that says New York on it, and he's like conspicuous, and he's trying to kind of, but also he just didn't really want to wear a tux. So yeah, and my personal note in there is that I could actually never, because your girl's kind of like recovering from OCD, and by like that I mean the unhealthy kind, not like the, oh my god, my pins have to be straight, but like the, if I don't do this in this order, the world's gonna like die, like that kind of OCD. So yeah, so when Scott goes and picks up these clothes and is like, yeah, I'm just gonna put these on. You're not, you know, we have to wash those. They're dirty. They were in a factory. Factories are gross. And then they were on the street. Streets are gross. It's been touched by who knows how many people. People are gross. Ew. So, yeah. No. I couldn't. But Kip gets off in an hour, which is a little bit, I think it seemed like it took way longer in the show for Kip to get off work, which I think kind of feels more accurate to a catering job, because it's not just like, oh, I'm doing hors d'oeuvres. It's like, oh, I'm doing hors d'oeuvres, and then I'm cleaning the dishes, and then I'm putting everything in the boxes, I'm putting everything in the van, and throwing everything away, and all. It's not easy. So yeah. But it only takes him an hour, and he gets off work, and Scott's like, let's get out of here. So they go to the burger shop, and they have their little cute, like, and Kip's like, oh my god, are you cold? And Scott's like, no, I run warm. I'm good. And then, like, a few more steps, he's like, freezing. And Kip's like, is the burger shop close? You seem cold. And Scott's like, yeah, no, it's right here. So they go into the burger shop and they sit down. And you can tell that, like, Kip's reading Scott. And Kip's like, oh god, don't, hope hope no one sees me, right? And, they start talking. Also, I like to point out that I like that they actually went to the burger shop. I like that they went to the burger shop and they didn't just be like, let's order in and then, like, bone. But they actually went to the burger shop and, like, talked. And this is where you can see Kip is really picking up these vibes from Scott that, like, he's definitely in the closet and he's definitely into Kip. Okay? So, they kind of talk. Ready? It might be an awkward cut, so just be ready for that. Just be ready for that. Be ready for that, because I'm gonna look up my notes for this part of the book, not show. The notes. So this would be chapter 4. Yes. They're kind of talking. They're just having, like, a normal conversation about stuff, and Scott's like, well, tell me about yourself, and Kip's like, well, I went to college, I have a college degree, and they kind of bring up straw plus berry, and that's when he's like, it's straw and berry, and they have, like, a little cute tiff, and Scott's like, I went to college, but I dropped out, and Kip's like, yeah, I know, and I wrote my notes, and I liked that Kip doesn't hide that he knows things about Scott, like, because you always hear these stories with celebrities where they'll kind of get, I don't want to say gypped, but, like, they'll get in these relationships where they think that it's really going well and they're, like, really liking them for them and not because of their status. And then later on they learn that, like, oh no, they knew everything about you, they were just lying the entire time. And so I really like that Kip's just like, yeah, I know stuff about you. Of course I do. You're kind of the best hockey player in New York, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that I do like that he's honest, at least about this. He's not really honest about his feelings with Scott, but he's honest with his happy feelings with Scott. He's not honest with his other feelings. So yeah. Scott also was like, I like hanging out with, wait, fuck. Cut that. Or don't. I don't really give a shit. I don't know why I highlighted that, because it literally makes no sense. Maybe if I click on it and I read the rest of the... Hey, maybe let me just click on it. Let me just see what this was about. Oh! It's when Scott says, it's just nice doing this, hanging out with someone with you. Okay? Kip was speechless, and Scott's eyes looked absolutely tortured, as if trying to communicate, like, please understand what I'm trying to say right now. Like, I'm trying to say I'm, like, really into you, and I please understand that I'm trying to say that, right? So, yeah. Sorry. I'm a bit of a sweaty mess. Don't judge me. Again, I've been recording for 40 minutes, and we're on chapter 4. Holy shit. Enjoy that information. But, they kind of talk a little bit more, and Scott's like, you want to get out of here? And Kip's like, fuck yeah, I want to get out of here, because you don't know this, but Kip's been in kind of a dry spell for a few months, and he was jonesing for a little something, okay? And let me tell you, Scott was definitely in a dry spell. Well, maybe not a dry spell, but, like, he just hadn't had the opportunity to go to a remote location, find somebody, and bring them to a hotel. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So they get into a cab, or maybe it's a limo thing. Maybe it's someone's driving the car, and they're sitting in the back. And Kip picks up that Scott's getting a little antsy-dancy. He's a little... Ooh, oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm gonna get some, right? And Kip kind of gently puts his hand on Scott's hand and goes, hey, don't worry, I can keep a secret. and I can make it good for you, right? Calm down, Scott. I got this, right? So they go to Scott's place, and Kip's like, holy shit, this place is fucking banger, which happens in the show as well. So we've been kind of very much on par. Again, there's going to be a few things that are very much different, like the Elena dance later on and stuff, but mostly these parts are the same. I will say, whoa, there's sex. Guys, there's a lot of sex. Like, actually, I think if I were to count the sex scenes from Heated Rivalry and Game Changer in the books, I think Game Changer has more. But okay, wait, hold on. I think, I guess it depends on what you count as sex, right? I would say that Game Changer has more. You feel me? Hopefully that is fine. And then Heated Rivalry has a bit more. I'm not gonna make blowjobs. There you go. I almost was gonna do the thing, and I was like, I'm not fucking. You're lying. I'm not gonna do that. So, but yeah, I do think that there's definitely way more blowjobs in Heated Rivalry. Holy shit. That's not the point, though. The point is that they have sex. Now, I'm not going to mention every time they have sex in this book, but it's a lot, just so you know. I am going to bring up, this is my first, like, kind of really big comparison between Ilya and Shane and Scott and Kip, okay? So here it is. It's about the sex. So here it is. But a little backstory on stuff. Ready? I'm a woman, even though I have this amazing physique. I'm a woman. I don't know if you could tell. I'm a lady. And sometimes, but not always, it's not always women, sometimes it's men as well, will give fictional men kind of terminology, some stuff, They might hit him with a, oh my god, he's so zaddy. He's so, oh my god, he's so baby girl. He's so cute, he's so baby girl. Right? They might hit you with one of those things. And, I feel that Kip gives off a little bit of that baby girl energy. That, like, that little cute, not cute, but, like, not that he can't, I think there's a few moments during sex that he gives a little bit of zaddy energy, but as a person, I feel like he gives baby girl, okay? Same for Scott. I think Scott can give baby girl, but he gives zaddy more. He gives zaddy more, okay? So there's that. Now, you're asking, why are we putting these terms on these two characters? It comes into play, which is that usually when I read books like this, MLMs, I've read a few in my time. Don't worry. Usually when I read these, it's usually the one who has a bit more of that zaddy energy that is a bit more experienced in the whole making love, as one might say, right? And usually it's baby girl who's just like, oh my god, what are you gonna do to me, right? You feel me? And so I thought it was really interesting that Kip is kind of the more experienced one, and he's very reassuring. I will say that pages 1 to like 200, I think it's very much like Heated Rivalry, which is that the sex scenes have a purpose beyond, whoa, they're doing it. I think we do learn some things about Scott and Kip during these moments. Like I just said, we learned that, of course, Kip is a bit more experienced. Scott, though he has had sex with men, he definitely isn't as experienced, and he is a little shy, maybe not shy, but worried about hurting Kip sometimes. So yeah. So they both check in on each other when having sex, and they do it in different ways, which is like, Scott comes from a place of being like, oh my god, am I doing this right? Am I going to hurt you? Are you sure everything's okay? Like, he's really worried he's going to hurt Kip while having sex. So yeah. Whereas Kip is very reassuring in the way that he's like, don't worry, you're fine, you're not going to break me. Like, I've got you. Like, he's very reassuring in that kind of way to be like, don't worry, Scott, I've got you. I know what we're doing. I know, like, I've got this. We're good, right? So I do like that about that. Like, I like that it's a storytelling piece to kind of learn that Kip does have very much confidence in the bed, and he also can take, not control, or maybe it is take control, like, know how to direct the lovemaking, as one would say. So yeah, that's that. I do also want to say that Kip and Scott are very comfortable in switching. They're okay being either during sex, which is very cute. I like it. It's very adorable. I think it's nice for them. And this is another thing with Ilya and Shane, which is that Ilya is very much top. Very much top. Is not bottom. He is top, okay? And Shane is... he is bottom. He does not like... at all. I'm gonna say penetration. He doesn't like that. Hopefully I can get that. Hopefully YouTube doesn't fucking hate me for saying those words. But if they do, I'll bleep it. So yeah. He doesn't like it at all, which I think is kind of saying something when it comes to him trying to have sex with women, and he's like, it's the worst part. And I think it's just because he doesn't like doing that part at all. Because he likes being the bottom. So, yeah. He likes being the hole in the square peg situation, as you know. Fun fact. But this is, sorry, that was a little tangent on them. We're back to Scott. Kip, don't worry. And we are in, wait, this might be a cut. It might not. Maybe I won't. You know, I like cutting sometimes, but then sometimes I'm just like, maybe I'll just naturally say some shit and you guys will watch it, or maybe you guys will skip. Either way, and it doesn't really matter. Oh! I did right. That part where Kip's like, don't worry, I can keep a secret. I promise I'll make it good for you. I did put Kip as a goddamn treasure because he is a goddamn treasure. He's the most amazing thing ever. Even if he doesn't believe it, he is. Oh, another moment that I did want to mention is that while they're having sex for the first time in chapter 5, Kip does bring up that he thinks he didn't mind, but he really thought that Scott was going to be more of a top-like situation just because he's the captain of the Admirals and he's like tall and sexy and all that, right? So he just kind of assumed, but in the end, they kind of just do both and it doesn't affect them that much. We also learn in chapter 5, after they've been making hot, sexy love to each other and they're kind of sitting in each other's arms, and Scott's like, oh, Kip gets up and he starts getting dressed because he's like, well, this is clearly just like a thing because like Scott's famous and all that and he just needed to have some sex and I should probably get out of here. And Scott's like, you could stay. Do you want to stay with me? And Kip's like, say less, bitch, say less. And he like gets in the bed and he like does like a little fake, like, let me get comfy, you know, next to him. It's really cute. And they start just kind of talking again. And this is when we learn that this is a difference between the show and the books, which is that Scott's mom died when he was 15 and it had just been him and his mom. There was no kind of dad figure really in that picture. You also learn that they kind of grew up a little bit dirt poor. You either learn this in chapter 5 or a little bit later, but we do learn this information that they really did grow up dirt poor. So yeah, that kind of comes up with how Scott kind of likes to give people, he likes to use money to show his care a little bit. That's not his whole thing, but he's like, well, now I have so much of it, and he knows what it's like to come from a place of not having money, so he's like, well, if I can give it, then hell yeah, I'm gonna give it. And that's kind of his mindset, which really goes against Kip's mindset of being like, I don't want to take your money. I don't want to do that at all. So yeah. Oh, there's also the moment where they're like cuddling, and Kip has this thought in his brain while they're cuddling and he's going to sleep, and it goes, uh-oh, one night, Grady. Don't go getting stupid. Appreciate what you've been given here. This is another one of those moments that he's not really looking down on himself at all, but it's one of these thoughts that grows into something bigger, I feel like, of him being like, I need to be appreciative of what I'm getting, and trying to ignore his internal feelings by just being like, oh, why am I whining? I need to appreciate everything that I have right now, right? Exactly. So that happens, and then we go to chapter 6, and this is the only thing that I kind of have written down, which is that we're following Scott, and he says he wasn't lonely exactly. He had his teammates. They were like family, but sometimes he longed for something in his life that had nothing to do with hockey, had nothing to do with being famous. This kind of comes up again in the later later chapters, like I think it's either chapter 29 or 28, where he brings it up to Kip again, but he kind of puts more thought into it and realizes that it's not that he wanted something separate from hockey, he just needed a partner, someone to share his life with, so he wasn't so lonely when he didn't have hockey. So yeah, that's me. Don't worry. Sorry, I know I skipped ahead again. Don't judge me. But that's the only thing I really have in chapter 6. There could have been other things that happened in chapter 6, and if there is, tell me. I'm sorry. Again, I'm doing my best. I do have a lot of shit for chapter 7 though, so yeah. Oh, you know what? Sorry, my apologies. There is something in chapter 6 that I did forget to mention, which is that Scott comes back to the smoothie shop, straw and berry, not plus, straw and berry. He goes back to the smoothie shop and he gets his smoothie, and he gives him a 20, and in that $20 bill, what is in it? It's a note that has his number on it. And Scott, Kip's like, oh my god, right? So, and they also they do a really bad act banter where Scott's like, yeah, Saturday, I'm thinking about watching a movie by myself in my house. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna be doing. You know, Kip's like, really? I'm gonna be watching. That's cool, man. Movies are really great. I like movies too, right? And then he gets the thing, and this was like 3 or 4 days before either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not gonna remember the day, so don't come at me with that. But he does wait. He waits to text him, to call him, to do anything, because he's like, classic Kip. He's like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to distract him. He's so busy with his hockey and everything. Like, I'll just wait until a little bit later, like maybe the day of, maybe like 2 hours beforehand. Maybe that's when I'll do it, right? And poor fucking Scott. Because we get Scott, and Scott's like, Scott couldn't sit still while he waited for Kip. And he's like, oh, I didn't even think, I was really worried you weren't even going to message me. Like, this is internal Scott, not external Scott. Like, he's worried that, like, Kip didn't even want to message him, or, like, he just wanted that one night stand, or he, maybe just really wasn't into it, didn't want that lifestyle, or whatever. So, they have, like, two different mindsets, which is that Kip's like, I don't want to be a burden, I don't want to get in his way. And Scott's like, why hasn't he? Does he not? Oh my god, what if I was bad in bed? What if he doesn't want me anymore? Right? That's over exaggerated. I hope you guys realize that, but you feel me? You ready? It's my first drink of the day. My throat is dry. And by the day, I mean the recording, so, yeah. If you couldn't guess, I'm sweating. I'm sweating my actual balls off. Delicious. Delicious. Okay. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, we're good. We're good, right? Good. There's another note. This is after they like do it again. They have like sexy times. They watch a movie, all that stuff. And Kip says to himself, "But goddamn, it was not going to be easy to walk away from this when the time inevitably came." Honestly, I say that's Kip, but that actually could be Scott. The ravioli on the couch and Scott turned television. Nope, yep, it is Kip that has that conversation with himself about thinking that at some point Scott's kind of just drop him, like he's gonna get bored of him, like this is just a fun little romp in the romp, nothing more, nothing less, you know, because Scott's in the closet. So yeah. I don't know if there's anything else crazy that happens in this. Oh, yeah. There is the moment where Kip is saying this stuff about thinking that he'll have to be ready for when it ends. And, you know, Scott's like, hey, let me say something. And Kip's getting ready for the whole big rejection and being like, hey, this was fun, but... And instead, Scott's like, I've never dated anyone. And Kip turned his eyes up, stunned. I've hooked up with men, not here. I've never hooked up with anyone in New York. I've never brought anyone into my home before. So, yeah. I will say in the show, I feel like they kind of show this a little bit that, like, Scott is, in his mind, he's like, this is a relationship. We're dating because I've never done this with another man, so that has to be what that is, and so yeah, right? And they kind of show that a little bit with him just forging forward in the show when they have sex for the first time, and Kip's making him a smoothie because he's so cute, right? And he's making him a smoothie, and Scott's like, "Hey, can I just say that I'm obsessed with you, and I really like you, and I hope you stay in this house with me, and I hope you can move in." So yeah, which honestly, and the review I do, or the show review I do for it, I was still just kind of like, Scott, you're freaking me out a little bit. Maybe he's giving love bomb just a little bit. Chill out, you know. But I understand why they had to do it like that, because again, we're cramming 400 pages. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Why they did it, it's fine. Just wanted to say, I like that it's a little bit slower paced, even though it does give that Scott's definitely like moving this bad boy along. It's not like in a scary way, I guess is what to say. So yeah, that's chapter, what'd I say? 7? Fuck. I am so wetting. I honestly might take a pause and then cool down for a minute. And then get back. So, yeah. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. So, we're going to end here on, well, this is for me for later. We're going to go and hit up, well, no, because I haven't finished chapter 7. Let me finish chapter 7. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. This isn't live, so I'm going to cut it all out. Don't worry. Kip getting ready for rejection, only to confirm they are dating, and then, Scott's like, you deserve better than that, Kip. Kip laughed because seriously, I can settle for you. Yes, this is another one of those moments that I put down as like, this is another moment Kip keeps kind of rejecting his internal feelings to just be like, I'm so lucky that this super cute, hot, blonde hockey player is into me. So, yeah. that's the last part of chapter 7. I'm going to take a small break because I've been doing this for an hour. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to cool down because this room's really fucking hot, especially when I close the door so the sound doesn't... So yeah, okay. We're back. Back again. I took my small break because I was actually literally just burning up in here. I put a fan and I chilled out for a minute, drank some more water that is right there. So, are you ready for this? It's small tangent time. Whoa, 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 whoa. Small tangent time. This is a small tangent little thing that I thought I'd bring up because I was irritated about a thing. And so I thought I'd bring it up. If you want to skip it, I'll give you a time code so you know when to skip it, but you don't have to. I'm gonna get heated. So yeah. I watched Heated Rivalry a few days ago. Fucking loved it. Fell in love. It's amazing. It's cinematography, all that stuff. I've mentioned it. It's banger. It's banger, okay? So I was looking at a few of the React channels that I react to, that I watch, and they were doing something called Off Campus, which is a hockey romance show. And I said, hey, I just watched a hockey romance show, and I fucking loved it. Did it focus on hockey at all? Of course not, but I loved it either way. So I said, let me give it a go. I set everything up. This was yesterday. I set everything up, and I get it on my thing, and I'm like, let's do this. I'm ready. Going in cold turkey. I've never seen the show at all. And fuck, bro. It sucks. It sucks fucking ass. It's terrible. I was so irritated because Heated Rivalry has put my mindset in a bracket above where most things do. Because of course it has. So I'm going into this being like, oh, I can't wait. This is going to be so fun. It's some of the cheesy. Oh my god. I actually might put a little blurb of like my reaction to it. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The first scene, they're like, first off, let's play this song that everyone fucking knows. It's not new. That sucks ass. It doesn't suck ass. It's not a bad song. I'm just saying I was irritated because just make new music. Just do something fun. Like, stop using copyright bullshit songs. Just, okay, I'm good, fam, I'm good. And so they do that, and I don't know, some like hot hockey player or whatever is on the field or on the rink, and he works out and he goes and he's taking a shower, and they show you his ass, and they're like, you like it? I don't like it. And then this girl, and that's when I was like, oh no, it's not gay. Fuck. But I was like, I'll keep watching. I am straight. This technically is for me. Okay? So I'm like, I'll keep watching. And he's the hockey player, and she's like the, I don't know, janitor or something. So she's cleaning up after everybody, and she goes and she's got her beats on, because they're like, beats, wink, 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 beats, right? And he's wearing his Calvin Klein underwear, because, like, of course he is. And she walks in and she's like, picking up my stuff, whatever. And then she looks over in the shower, and he's in the shower, taking a shower, right? And the audacity is actually crazy, okay? So let's say that he's Scott. Just so you know, he's not as hot as Scott, or Scott's way hotter, but we'll just, okay? Say Scott. And this is her. She literally is just like, right? Just staring at him. And then this motherfucker turns. He goes, and he looks at her. And he's like, looking for someone, right? Now, my instinct, if I've been caught snooping, looking at somebody's derriere while they're showering, my instinct would be like, look away and be like, oh, I was just doing my beats. I'm just doing my job. I'm what? Nothing. Homegirl stares. She keeps looking. And then And then they decided to bring dialogue into it, and I was like, I can't do this. I think I maybe got 10 minutes in, and I was like, this is actually a travesty. This is actually, oh my god. And here's the thing. I know that the spectrum of gay people comes in a spectrum, like I just said, right? So, like, yes, you're gonna have your yes, queens. Oh my god. He said what to you? What? Like, yes. They're out there. I believe you. They exist. I know they do. I've seen them. Okay? Yes. But I hate how often it's used in media just so you, the audience, know that they're gay. Like, I don't. Not that gay people like that do not exist. I know that they do. I hate how often they are used just to be like, hey, wink, wink, here's our token gay character so you know he's in it. And I'm going to mention one more scene and then I'm going to move on back to Game Changer, but I have to. So, say I'm sitting, and these are two jock hot guys, right? Two jock hot guys sitting behind me. We're in a college class, just so you know. College class. I'm sitting here, my gay best friend who's slaying and really showing off, right? They're talking. They're right behind me, right? They're talking. I can hear their conversation. I can hear the conversation that they're having, okay? And then I'm talking to my gay best friend, my token gay best friend, of course. And he's like, my token gay best friend looks behind him at the hot dudes and goes, man, I'd take them from behind. You know what I mean? What? Sir, if we can hear the conversation they're having, they can fucking hear the conversation you're having. If we don't want straight men making fucking comments like that, what gives you the audacity to what? Oh my, there's one more scene that happens. I'm not going to bring it up because it's where I decide that I'm fucking out of here. But just that scene alone, I was like, this is insane. This is the worst dialogue I've ever seen, and maybe not the worst dialogue, but it was bad. It was bad. Okay. That's it. I'm done. There you go. Enjoy my rant about off-campus, a hockey romance that does not even come close to how amazing Heated Rivalry is. Okay. Game Changer. We are on Chapter 8. We're on Chapter 8. Let me get my book out. Let me get my book out on my Kindle. Yes. Chapter 8. We have the Tux conversation. Because in the show, the Tux is in the closet, clearly representing that if Kip takes the Tux, he has to go back into the closet to be with Scott, right? For my man. We all picked that up. We all saw that. That's what that meant, right? Good. But in the book, it's a little different because... Wait a minute. I've forgotten something. I believe I have forgotten a thing that has happened. What have I forgotten? Is there something in Chapter 7? Was it something in Chapter 6? Holy shit, I've missed a huge point. Oh my god. Guys, we have to go back to Chapter 7. Okay. Chapter 7, there's also a moment after they make love, as you say. There's a moment after that they're talking, and I think they're trying to, figure out their schedule so they can see each other again. And Kip brings up that, he's got an event he's going to, the Gala of Gala. And Scott's like, oh my god, I'm going to that Gala. Are you working? Because the last time that Scott saw Kip at a Gala, he was working. And Kip goes, no, Elena invited me. I know, guy like me going, right? Crazy. Puts himself down a little bit there, you know what I mean? And Scott immediately is just like, no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have assumed. That's totally on me. I'm so sorry. And Kip's like, no, man, it's fine. Don't even, kind of almost, what's the word I'm thinking of? Because honestly, I don't think Scott did anything wrong. But then Scott, kind of over apologizes. And I don't know. I think Kip kind of puts himself down a little bit in this scene again, even though there really is no reason. Even though there really is no reason for him to be doing that, but he's like, yeah, of course Scott would think that, like, that I'm a worker, because, like, I'm not that kind of guy that would go to a gala, that would be invited to a gala, because, like, I work at a smoothie shop, right? He kind of does that little thing, and you can tell that this really affects Scott a lot, because he's like, he thinks he's fucking up, and yeah. I also think chapter 7's when he, like, is like, you should take one of my tuxes, you don't have to rent it, and, well, no, actually he goes, let me buy you a tux, I get them practically for free from these people, and Kip is like, no. This is one of those really big moments that we see Kip being like, I don't want your money, I don't want it, not in like a bad way, but just in like a, I respect that you have money, but I am someone who would rather earn my way than take the easy route, I guess one would say, right? And like I said earlier, Scott doesn't really comprehend these moments because he remembers being in a dirt poor situation and how much money has helped him be able to kind of just live, you know? So yeah, and he's like, let me just give you this tux, and Kip says, no, I'm not going to take that tux. They kind of have a conversation with some feeling, as you might say. It's not an argument, it's just kind of a conversation with feeling, and they end up agreeing on that Kip will take one of Scott's tuxes and they will get it tailored so it fits him, and that's kind of their compromise for the situation. So then we go to chapter 8. Now chapter 8 is they are kind of being a little flirtatious, texting and all that, and then one of them says, hey, call me, and they do, and they're on the phone, and they bring up the tux again, and Scott's like, have you found someone who can tailor your tux? And Kip's like, yes. Well, no, I was gonna ask Elena, but then she would probably like figure it out, and Scott's like, does she, like, well, no, sorry, Scott goes, does she know? And that's when Kip's like, no, she doesn't know, but like, she's super smart, and if I ask her to tailor this super fancy fucking tux, she's just gonna know because she already knows that I have a crush on you, right? And this is when there's this bright point that is definitely different than the show, which is Scott goes, why don't you just tell her? It's fine. You can tell her. I'm not going to get angry or upset about it. Like, I don't want our relationship to affect one of your longest friendships. Like, I don't want that. So if you need to tell her, tell her. And you can really tell how much this brings like a light to Kip, because he's already been kind of slowly feeling this loneliness of not being able to tell anybody in his life this secret that he has, Scott. And so he's like, oh, okay, good, I can tell him. And I do like this change a little bit, because when we're in the show, like, of course Elena figures it out. She does figure it out because she's smart. And when Scott figures out that Elena knows, you can see in his facial expressions that he's like panicking. Like, he's trying to control it, but he's very much scared in the show. And I like that in the book, he makes a decision to be like, hey, it's fine. If you trust Elena, I'm going to trust Elena. You can tell her. So I kind of like that about Scott in the book, that he's not like, we can't tell anybody, nobody can know. I mean, he is a little bit like that, but it's a little different. So I like that about it. Anything else really epic big in chapter 8 that oh yeah. They get off the phone and he does talk to Elena, and Elena at this point is very happy for Kip. She hasn't, like, she brings up a little bit about, like, are you sure you're okay being a secret? But Kip brings up, he's like, I'm really happy and I really like Scott, and, you know, we'll see where it goes. He there's no definites at this point, and so she doesn't go too full, like, best friend mode. she's just kind of like, well, then I'm happy for you, and I hope you have fun, and I hope everything's good. Like, she's just really chill and congratulatory and just happy for Kip, and I think they celebrate a little bit that night. So yes, it's a good moment. I like it. It highlights Elena, it highlights Scott, and it highlights Kip a little bit too. So, oh yeah, and then they watch the game, and this is a little thing that we learn in the book, and of course we see in the show as well, which is that Scott's kind of known as a level-headed player. He doesn't usually get in fights. He doesn't usually go to the penalty box. He is really chill on the hockey rink, on the rink, on the ice. He's chill. He's chill. And in this little like argument, Bennett's one of the people that, what is it? Huff, Carter. Is it Huff, Carter, and Bennett are his best friends, I think. Bennett's getting a little heated, and he's given a 5-minute, penalty, and Scott's there to calm him down. And this moment shows you that Scott's always kind of had a level head. He's known as the level head. So when some things start happening a little bit later, actually, that might happen this chapter. I can't remember. There's a moment. Yes, it is this moment. Because I think it is Ilya that pisses off Bennett, and then he does something that pisses off Scott, and Scott ends up punching him in the face, which tells you like Ilya really got under his skin in that moment because he's known as the level-headed one. And this is the first mention of Ilya Rozanov, the Russian. And he's kind of an asshole. He's kind of a dick. He's kind of a what do they say in the show? He knows how to get under the enemy's team's skin because he just knows what to say to get him angry, So he does that. And Kip says Rozanov deserved that. He has inside information about how rude Rozanov can be. And it's just like a little moment just showing you Scott's getting emotional, Chapter 9. Chapter 9! You know what Chapter 9 is? Chapter 9 is Valentine's. It's Valentine's. They've been planning it. By them, I mean Scott planned it. He made dinner. He got everything ready. He has a secret gift that's going to get a bit rocky, But that's a little later, and we're a little begin. So, beginning of chapter 9, Kip shows up. They have dinner. And wait, let me remember, because I have to remember. Yes, Scott brings up, he's like, oh, it's not just Valentine's. It's been 1 month since we met. And you can really see that this means a lot to Scott, because again, Scott has never been in a relationship. He's never dated. He's never had anything more than one night in a hotel, right? Like literally, this thing with Kip is the first thing he's ever had. And so it's a memory, like, it's been a month since I've met you, and you changed my life. That's a big thing that Scott brings up later. Whew. Y'all, goddamn, I'm sweating. Maybe I should stop moving back and forth. Maybe, who knows? But, we bring that up, and then I think chapter 9 is when this happens, but I could be wrong. No. Oh my god, ignore me, because that gift thing doesn't happen until a certain birthday. This is Valentine's. This is not the same moment. My apologies. Okay. So, chapter 9, this is Kip only gives Scott a gift, and like the ambiance and night is kind of what Scott is giving to Kip. That is what's happening here. Kip gives him the blueberry socks, which I think this is a really cute moment because I think this is a really cute moment because when Scott gets the socks, he's just like, oh, they're socks. Because there's not bananas on them, so it's not very obvious. That's why I think the banana choice is a great choice, just so you guys know. But he's like, oh, they're socks. And Kip goes, yeah, I kind of think they look like your smoothies. And, you know, since I can't make smoothies for you when you're out of town, I thought you could have these. It's a very cute, adorable moment. I think they do very well in the show as well. And you can tell how much this gift means to Scott. Like, they might just be socks, but they're socks with a story, and socks with a story mean more. And if we didn't think these boys were falling for each other before, my God, they're falling for each other now. And then we have bath time. Bath time! Hey, we're in a bath, and it's big enough for 2 men, and one of them's like 6'5", and blonde? So yeah, bath time, here we are, it's chapter 10, and there is a few moments here that I think are like really big moments. I might actually read some of them out just because I think they're big moments and I don't want to get them wrong. You ready? Here we go. I imagined sharing it with someone. Kip tangled the fingers together under the water. Not just the bathtub, Scott said. All of it. The apartment, my life, I don't know. Kip was stunned. His life? Sorry, Scott said. I know we've only been, I shouldn't be suggesting. I don't know how I got to be so lucky, Kip interrupted. But being able to share anything with you makes me really happy. So there's that little cute moment that gets a little dwindled, but not too much, but it's a little dwindled, which is Kip and Scott are kind of talking about their jobs, and Kip says, see, we both have full, busy lives. Kip laughed at his own joke. Scott was quiet. I hope you don't think, he started. Kip could feel him tensing up. I don't think you're beneath me. Of course, Kip kind of deflects with a little bit of a joke, which is kind of Ilya's way of deflecting with sex. Don't know if you've picked that up yet. So Kip says, technically, you are beneath me. Don't forget, in the tub, Kip is on top of Scott. Picture it. Okay. I'm serious. I want to say this once so you know, because it's possible that you think that I'm just taking a vacation or whatever with you. Like I'm trying to escape my high-profile life by hooking up with nobody. No, you're not. That's... So yeah. Again, this is another moment in the books that we can see where both are kind of coming from. I did make a little bit of a discovery yesterday when I was recording this for the first time, which is, I think it's interesting because Kip clearly, even though Scott has just told him that Scott does not believe that he is beneath him in a accomplishment kind of sense kind of thing, right? Like he doesn't believe that he's beneath him just because Scott is a hockey player who's kind of famous and making a bunch of money, and Kip is not that. That's really all there is to it. And Kip clearly feels that there is an unbalance here, even if Scott doesn't want to admit it, just because of the things I just mentioned. Now, here's the interesting thing, which is even though Kip thinks that he might be somewhat beneath Scott, I think Scott kind of feels the same way, that he is a little bit beneath Kip. Just a little bit. Which I thought was really interesting when I really thought about it yesterday. But if you think about it, the way that he talks about Kip, which is like, you've changed my life, and there's just that he puts so much of his, I don't know how to explain it, like umph. I really feel like he puts Kip on a pedestal because of how he has changed Scott's life emotionally, physically, like all the ways of just being able to be himself with somebody and not just come back to a lonely apartment. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but I hope it does. But yeah, I think they both kind of feel that they are not good enough for each other. I also think Scott has a thing where he thinks like Kip's out and he's in the world and he's getting to be himself, and I'm so afraid to even do that, and I couldn't do that. There's so many people relying on me. Like, it's kind of that kind of situation, if that makes sense. Which I hope it does, but if it doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. And I'm gonna take a drink of water because I'm fucking sweating. There's also a few moments still in the bathtub where, again, we're kind of following the conversation, and Scott again brings up being kind of, dirt poor when he was growing up and how he wishes he could give more, like he feels like he never does enough. And Kip brings up like, well, what do you mean? You have that charity and you give to kids and you go to hospitals and you do all this stuff, and Scott's like, well, I just feel like I'm not doing enough. Like, he's like, one day I want to kind of open up a charity. Charity, you say? They mentioned that later. Yes. A charity for queer kids. And then he's like, I don't. And Kip kind of has to be like that person to be like, no, you're right. It's queer kids is kind of what you would say in that scenario. And you can kind of tell Scott's relationship with the LGBTQ, I guess you could say, like the thing that he's been avoiding his whole life, he's so kind of scared of just even saying the wrong thing even a little bit. Like, he doesn't even know if queer is the word people use anymore because he tries to avoid this part of his life so much, which I think is just an interesting part of the conversation that they have here about it. Oh, chapter 7, I do want to... No, sorry. Well, chapter 11. My apologies. Chapter 11. Chapter 11, they get done making love and right, and they're like being all cute and adorable. And Scott gets a call. Yo, man. Zolo's been fucking arrested. He got in a fight in a bar. Now, you don't know who Zolo is, and that's fine. He's kind of a dickbag who, everyone doesn't really like on the team, and he's not been really pulling his weight. I didn't really mention him, but that's who Zolo is. And so Scott's got to like go, and he's got to go deal with his problem. And he has a meeting with the coach, and he's like, well, Zolo's gone. He's out of here. He's going to jail, and we've kicked him off the team. And Scott's like, oh no, bummer. But like when he's alone with his friends, he's like, it's good in the long run. Like, he really wasn't going to help us. We weren't going to get the cup if he was on the team, right? So yeah. But that's not really the main part of this. The main part is that, as I previously said, he had been getting a little, with Kip, and so he's in the locker room with Carter and Huff, I believe. Yes, Carter and Huff, and Carter's like, dude, you kind of got like a glow about you, like, what's up? He can tell, he can feel it. And Huff's like, yeah, man, you're like glowing, you look happy. Did you get some? And Carter's like, bro, you totally got some. And Scott's like, guys, come on, you know how I feel, that's private stuff, but he's kind of like, yeah, I might have gotten a little something, but he's like, but that's private, I don't want to talk about it. And the guys are like, oh, but then they're like, okay, I do like that they, like, respect his privacy, his domain or whatever, like, they make their little jokes, but then they're just like, aye, Captain, sorry, which really kind of tells you their friendship. I also really I kind of compare it to the Elena thing, where Elena immediately picks up that, like, Kip's met someone who's making him feel feelings, and these guys, they are literally Scott's best friends, and they pick up immediately that something is different in Scott's life that is making him happier. And I like that. I think it's really good. So yeah. There's a few more things that do happen in chapter 11, which is that I think they're on the phone, I believe. They're on the phone, And Kip's like, hey, do you mind if I bring my dad to the game tomorrow? And Scott's like, yeah, no problem. I'll get you those tickets. And Kip's like, no, it's fine. We can pay for the tickets. It's fine. And Scott's like, it's fine. Like, it literally costs me nothing, and these tickets are expensive. It's just let me do this for you. I'm not trying to like insult you by getting these tickets. It literally costs me nothing, and I want you to be there. That's it. And so Kip's like, okay. But you can tell he really doesn't like taking these tickets. It makes him uncomfortable because, again, he's someone who likes to work for the things he gets. So, yes. I don't remember if this is it? Yes, okay. I'm going to read a part because I think it's important. There's the first line, which is that Kip didn't spend nearly enough time with his dad. They lived there, but he like almost never saw him, and so he was happy to be bringing him to this game, which I kind of highlights his relationship with his dad, which we really get to see. Like, they show really well in the show, I think, for how little time we get. And then they're at the game watching it, and I'm just gonna say the line, so be ready. Ready? Okay. No, Scott, fuck, don't! As the puck rocketed toward the net, Kip could only watch horrified as Scott threw his body in front of it. He dove through the air and caught the puck somewhere in his midsection, where his padding was light. He went down hard. So that happened, right? And he is panicked. He's panicked because, as I explain later, holy shit, they explain it, and it's like he has bruising all over his like chest. It's really bad. They have to give him x-rays and everything, and in that moment, like, Kip's trying to act cool, but he like gives a text and is like, please tell me you're okay. Like, cause Scott gets up and he's like, oh, I'm fine. But then he goes off, and they have to give him an x-ray and everything. It's a few hours later before he even messages back. But there's a moment while they're in the subway going home that Kip and him are talking, and his dad's like, he's all right. Dad put a hand on his shoulder and squeezed. He's a tough one. So yeah. Now, the reason that I wrote this moment down is because this is the moment that Kip's dad clocks it. He clocks it, man. Because he knows his son. And he clocks it immediately. And I'll bring it up more thoroughly when we find out that Scott's dad knows about the relationship. But I do like this moment because it is when he clearly clocks it, because Kip can't hide how much he cares about Scott in that moment. So, Kip shows up at the apartment. Scott is there. He, like I said, bruised, bad, awful, right? Kip's like, let me make you dinner. Let's get an ice pack on that. I'm going to be taking care of you. We're not having sex tonight. And you can tell Scott's like, damn it. Are you sure? Like, so yeah, that happens. Yes. They have their dinner, they go back, they watch a movie. I put a note in because I wanted to, because I thought it would be cute and funny and adorable, which is, I'm going to read the line. Here it is. Ready? Be ready for the line, because it's good. Kip watched the credits roll on Scott's massive television screen. Man, how much do you think it cost to make that dumb movie? Scott didn't answer. Upon closer inspection, Scott Hunter was, in fact, asleep in his lap. And I wrote, Rose's movie? Because they make a big deal in the show where like they're painting her blue, that she's like, I don't even know what's happening in this dumb movie. And I kind of like to imagine that the dumb movie is this. It's probably not, but I thought it was funny. So yeah. There is another moment in this chapter. Oh yeah, this is where Scott's kind of thinking to himself, and he's kind of internalizing this problem where he realizes the things that he wants are going to be detrimental to Kip's life, because he's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, keep him a secret my entire life and never go on dates and never appreciate him the way he needs to be appreciated, keep him locked up as my like little prisoner or whatever. Like, he you can see him kind of go down this little spiral situation of being kind of freaked out about that, which I like the emotional intelligence, and we do kind of get to see that in the show with his moments of, like, when they go to the art gallery and then he comes home and he's panicking, and, you know, Kip immediately is like, hey, it's fine, and you can tell that Scott's like, no, it's not, and I know it's not okay. Like, I know what I'm doing to you is not okay. Like, I'm hurting you and I'm not letting you live a flourished life, right? And they do show small moments of that in the book, which I appreciate. We are still in the... Oh, okay. Oh, yes. There's another moment that I did write down that I thought was important, and it's just when Scott is talking to Carter, and Carter brings up that his relationship with his girlfriend that he's been trying to keep on the down low was discovered. The paparazzi found them, took pictures, but then he's like, but it's chill because the next day one of the Kardashians mentioned that she was pregnant and everyone's already forgotten. And Scott has like some internal thought of being like, man, this sucks. Like, if anyone ever discovered that I was dating Kip, a man, that a simple like Kardashian thing wouldn't overrun it. Like, that would be news. It would actually be news because Kip's a man. And you can see how much it's really like putting a turmoil on Scott in that moment. I might have to take a break again because my voice seems to be trying to go out. So if that happens, I'm sorry. Oh, and then there's the thing where he's like, he mentions how just a small moment of getting caught touching, holding hands, kissing, there'd be no way for Scott to deny what was clearly happening there, right? And he says, God, it's not fair. His friend Carter can have a relationship like that, and he can't, right? It's just this little thing there that happens. Yes. We move over to like a lunch situation with Scott and his publisher, or his manager. My apologies. His manager. And I don't know how I feel about the manager. It's a little iffy for me, kind of, because sometimes he feels supportive, but then sometimes he feels like not. So yeah. But in this conversation, they're talking about the gala, and I can't remember the manager's name, but he's like, I can get you a girl, I can get you someone for that gala you're going to, something pretty to put on your arm. Would you want me to do that? I totally could, if you want me to. And Scott's like, no, I'm not into that. I'm too busy for it. And his manager's like, brother, I'm married, I've got 3 kids, I've got 14 clients. What are you talking about? You're too busy. He's like, man, I've been to all these clients' weddings and everything, and I care about you. I care about you more than some of the other players, and but you guys are all like family to me. But he says, like, you're more than that, and then, Scott's like, oh, because I'm an orphan. Because of course. And yeah, that happens. He moves on. He's like, hey, let's just move on. I don't feel like talking about my love life anymore. Because he's gay. If you couldn't figure that out. Just because he's gay. I have decided that I'm probably just going to record up until the gala, and then I'll probably record tomorrow, because I'm getting not tired, but I'm definitely sweaty, and my voice is kind of going out, which is not fun. And I want the video to seem fun and not like I'm exhausted. And if I continue, I'm going to sound like that. So, here we go. The gala. We're at it. Here it is. This is the gala. This is kind of where episode 3 ends, which is like the ending of the gala and the conversation, right? There's a few things that are definitely changed from the show and the book. Okay. There's a little moment. We start with Kip, of course, but we go to Scott, but then we go back to Kip. So we start with Kip, and he's like sitting there with Elena, and this robot comes by who's giving hors d'oeuvres, and he makes like a little dark joke to himself, being like, he makes a little dark joke to himself about how, wow, my whole job can be done by a robot who can't even think, right? Just another one of those moments that he kind of just puts himself down. And then they go into like the open room, and you can like tell that Kip's like, and Elena's like, chill, calm down, you're too obvious. And like he spots him, and then he's like, and he tries to look away, and Elena, and he's like, tell me when he's looking, And Elena's like, okay, I got you. And she goes, he sees you. And then Kip's like, how do you know? And she goes, because he just fucking lit up like the goddamn sun. You guys are hopeless. Which I thought was a really cute moment for her to just clock that, like, you guys are so in love with each other, you can't even hide it. Like, brother. There's a few moments there. Like, Scott comes over and they're talking, and it's a little bit awkward, of course. Elena's like, okay, well, I'm going to go get a drink. You want anything? And Scott's like, a beer. That happens. And they're trying to be super nonchalant. But at the end of their conversation, Scott's like, well, it was wonderful to meet you. And you can tell he was like, I have to. And he like holds his hand out just so he can touch Kip's hand in this moment, just to have that connection, even if it's so small. And he kind of like, he does like a little like thumb rub over the wrist. Super cute, also super sad because he can't be with the man he loves. So that happens. Everyone sits down for like the speeches and the food. The food's apparently like, okay, I guess. And then I believe the balcony scene happens next, which is like Scott goes out to like take a piss, and then he's like, let me go out to the balcony. I'm so hot. I feel you, Scott. He's like, I'm so hot. And Kip shows up and he's like, hey there. Someone's looking hot, you know, and he's like, sexy. And Scott's like, stop it. But he's like, keep going, right? And then, you know, Kip kind of gets him a little worked up, and he goes, well, I'll see you later. And then he just leaves, and Scott's like, you son of a bitch, you're getting it tonight, right? Let me tell you, it's probably the most romantic sex they have. He gets it that night, don't worry, okay? But they go back inside, and Elena's like, I believe you owe me a dance. And we go to Scott's point of view when they kind of have this conversation. Now, this conversation is very much different from the conversation that is had in the show, because at the show point, Kip was already like deep into his depression about like whenever Scott would leave, how sad and lonely he would be. And we really haven't truly hit that point yet. I made a little thing yesterday. I'll tell you guys about it. Which is that I said that the first 1 to 200 to like 220 pages is what I call the honeymoon phase. Which is like, they're hot and they're sexy and it's a secret, and we're like learning each other's love languages, and we're being super cute, and we're texting each other and tee, right? And then pages like 200 or like 400, it's like, oh, this is a real relationship, and problems come up in a real relationship, and we have to talk about those problems, or they kind of grow and they become a big problem, and then we might, I don't know, have an outburst and walk out and not talk about the problem. Anybody? So yes, that's what I call we're in the honeymoon phase still. It's really cute and honeymoony over here. It's different over there in the other area. And we'll talk about that. But, this is not to do with the conversation at all, but I thought this was a banger line, and nobody gives Scott credit for it. Not even Scott does. Which is, Fly Me to the Moon starts playing, and he goes, you know, I was just talking to a real astronaut, Scott said. I wonder if he likes this song. And he goes, Elena ignored my clumsy attempt at conversation. I was like, I want to know. I think that's a great conversation starter about an astronaut, right? But clearly that's not what we're going to be talking about here. So they're talking a little bit, and Scott goes, you think I'm going to hurt him? And she goes, I don't know. We've only just met. Convince me. So like, we're not in that point where she has to stand up for Scott or for Kip yet. We're in that place where she's like, convince me that you're not going to be hurting my best friend with his relationship. Convince me that you really do have Kip's best interests at heart here, you know? And he's like, I know I won't promise more than I can give, but I'll give him everything I possibly can. And she goes, in secret, and he goes, for now. She raises an eyebrow, like, are you sure? Like, how long is for now? Like, how long is that gonna be? Of course. When the song ends, Elena leaned in and she goes, you can kiss me, like, if you want, like, I'll be your beard. And he, of course, declines. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And Scott mentions, he's like, but that's really kind of her, like, internally. Clearly, he doesn't understand the way that we do, which is that this was a motherfucking test by Elena. Because of fucking course it was. Because I'm sorry, but if my best friend is dating Scott and I go, hey, you can kiss me if you want to, like, you know, kind of hide yourself a little bit, and both me and you know that my best friend is sitting there in the corner watching us, and you kiss me, no. Because there's, even if I know for a fact that you're gay, he knows you're gay, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and we both know it. So this was a test. This was 100% a test to be like, would you be willing to hurt your best friend to hide who you are? And he doesn't do it. Hurt my best friend, I'm gonna say, right? And he doesn't do it. And I think I was like, whew, good job. You did good. You didn't know you were taking a test, but you aced it. I'm proud of you. We go back to Kip's point of view again. He's watching them dance, and you can just tell how, like, sad he is, but also you can almost see, like, a jealousy there. He's like, man, I wish that was me. I wish I could be standing there dancing with him. I wish we could be doing this, but we can't. And it's really sad, because if this was any other relationship that Kip was in, it wouldn't matter, because he's out and he wouldn't care about dancing with a man, but Scott does. So, va va boom. Also, apparently Scott's a bad dancer. Just wanted to mention that. Yeah, he says, yes. Oh, okay. We go to chapter 14, which is that Scott and Kip have gone. Oh, wait, no. I said the gala. Yeah. Okay. So that's done. I will be back tomorrow. I may or may not be wearing this outfit. I could not tell you, but I'm really tired. And I've been recording for almost 2 hours, which is crazy, which is actually crazy. So yeah, thank you all for coming by and hanging out with me. I don't know why I'm trying to end this video, because you guys are gonna come back. Okay.